Hello! Hopefully all my stuff is set up correctly. It should be. Oh, forgot the camera. We even have a Marjorie! But yes, happy Friday, everyone. Hi, Miss Marjorie. Hi. She's looking at me. The camera isn't angled really well for you guys to see her face in the particular spot she is, but she's got these big ol' eyes. Hey, look up here. Yeah, oh no, she's gonna try to attack it. Hi. So best I can tell, the iPhone I use is again not charging. I'm gonna plug it into this other thing I've got here and see if that actually charges. And if it doesn't, I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. Cause that's not great that it's not charging. Well, it is charging, but it's not charging well. And that is a problem. And I really hope that... Okay, the cable looks fine. My cats have been menaces and have jumped on my desk a bunch lately, and I don't know why they keep doing it, because there's nothing of interest on my desk. At least, I don't know why Nia keeps doing it. I know why Marjorie does. Marjorie steals shit off my desk still. I don't know what her obsession is. It's stupid. It's annoying. But yeah, it's Animatic Time again. I had to tear myself away from the art I've been working on earlier, which was character designs for characters that I do not need to be designing, nor writing, but I like designing and creating the characters, and now I have another storyline, which is great. I definitely needed another one. Not like I don't have 50 other ones in progress, including the ones I'm trying to make animatics for. Oh my goodness. On top of just, the nonsense with working on Abyssian. It's very fun though. I'm having fun. So it's fine. That's what really matters, right? That you're having fun. I lost my reference, hang on, I gotta go find it. I should probably upload the mask reference somewhere else so I don't have to constantly dig through my personal Discord to find it, but I'm sure this is fine. This is the Harpy Hair animatic again. Because of all the animatics I have in progress currently, I feel like this one is the most likely to get done in a reasonable amount of time, because I have most of it drawn or sketched, and the sketches are not particularly difficult ones, and I'm just trying to get like one animatic done. So I stopped going insane over having by my count at least 6 in progress animatics right now. How did I get here? I don't fucking know. And I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, but it's gonna be a bad/good time. It'll be fine though. As I said, I just have to finish like one of them, and then everything else will start falling into place, and it'll be fine. I know myself. I just need like the sense that something's getting done, and if I finish one animatic, it'll feel like I've done something finally. And then it'll be easier to work on the other ones. I've wanted to draw these characters more anyways, which is why I was very pleased that Harpy Hair is such a good song for them. These characters are called the Beholders. I love the Beholders so much. I need to write more for their stories. Their stories are still kind of vague. Which is partially on purpose. They are side characters, and I don't want their stories to feel like they take over. I have a problem with that. Hello, welcome in. I have a problem with side characters where like I'll get really attached to one of my side characters, and then I'll get attached to all of the side characters for a particular story, and then I'll have another story because I have decided to make the side characters main characters of their own story. And then it keeps happening, and it becomes a horrific cycle of more and more story and backstory, which, like, is nice because it makes my storyverse feel very fleshed out. Like, everyone has a purpose and a place in the world. But it's fucking hell to write down and remember everything. And I'm trying to get better about the writing down so I don't have to worry so much about the remembering bit. But I'm not very good at that. Getting better, but not very good at it still. Which is why, for these particular characters, the one I'm drawing right now excluded for specific reasons, but for these characters, I was like, no, I am only allowed to expand on their story so much. They are intended to be side characters, and they will fucking remain side characters for all that is holy. Because if I make another side character main character again, I'm gonna McFucking lose it. They can show up in other stories, but they have to be side characters. I mean, this guy's still technically a side character in the other story he shows up. It just happens to be that he's the one that shows up in multiple stories because I created him before I created the other ones. I created 2 of them, so I don't have the reference on stream. Hang on. Oh, this mask looks so fucking weird when I draw it. I need to get better at drawing masks. Let me grab this and look in here. And I did not download it. Go me. I'm so good at this stream thing. Maybe I should actually trim this down. Show this. Hi, Kara. This. Hi, Cypher. There we go. Now you can see the guys. Okay. From left to right, we have Sakil, Imrik, Leith, and Faust. And out of the 4 of these guys, I think Imrik is technically the oldest. But I would have to, like, look way back in my notes to remember for sure. Maybe if I look on their Toy House pages, I can see when I created them, and if that will give me any hint. I'm fairly certain that it's Emmerich was first, and then Faust, because he was created for another story, same for Emmerich. And then somewhere in there, Leith and Zakil got created. When did they get created? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, that says August of 2019 for Faust. When was Emmerich created? Yes, December 2018. Okay, definitely, yeah, Emmerich was first. I don't remember why I created Emmerich. Oh, I remember now. So it has to do with what species all these guys are. So originally, they weren't Fae folk, they were another creature, and that's what Beholders were, but now Beholder is more of a title than a creature in the Storyverse. And now they're all Fae folk again. And Imrik is the cause of them not being Fae folk for a little bit there. Cause the idea was he was like some kind of like genie thing. But then like when I was establishing the rules of like how magic works and the universe works, I was kinda like, I don't think being a genie works in this context. So I changed things up a bit. And in a similar vein, Faust's other story actually still exists, very much so. There's very few changes to his, but the way that his abilities work was also changed a bit, as I came to my conclusions about power scaling. But Leaf and Zakil were specifically created, I think, for Ambrosia's story, rather than being their own thing beforehand. Do I still have that original art of Emmerich? His design has changed a bit, but like not that much over the years. Like it's always been the same color scheme. He used to have horns at one point. I don't know why. His outfit was also completely different, and he wasn't. So he's currently he actually is wheelchair bound, but he originally was not. Maybe I do have it. If anything, it's still on DeviantArt and I can find it there. I just want to look at it. I'm distracting myself already. We're what, 15 minutes into stream? Oh, that's a pretty picture on the front page of DeviantArt. I hope it's not AI. That doesn't look like AI, so probably not. It might be on my old DeviantArt. Oh no, this is back as... Nope, it's on this one. Cool. Wow, what the fuck did I do to his wings? Also, hey DeviantArt, what the fuck did you do to the quality of this piece? It looks so bad. I'm not showing this. This is like old art. Goodness. But yeah. What was I talking about? I know I was talking about their stories, but I don't remember why I got onto that track. Or train of thought, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe if I just don't show that and just draw the eyes like this, it'll look better. I am struggling with these eyes. I was like, I'm gonna draw everyone with masks in every frame, and I am regretting that decision immensely. Okay, yeah, that looks way better. It's not aligned perfectly with the butterfly, but I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't give less of a shit. Done half decently is better than not done at all. I think I was gonna talk about their stories, but you guys want to hear about their stories? It's not really spoilers, at least. Because these are all, as previously stated, side characters, and will remain so no matter how much my brain wants to give them all their own individual stories. It's not allowed to happen until I finish at least one fucking storyline. Sorry, I have to blow my nose real quick. Yeah, for sure, Kira. Sometimes I'll go, like, look back at an older animatic and be like, man, I could fix this, this, and this. And then I like, mentally slap myself and go, no, what the fuck? I finished it. That's cool. I finished it. We're good. We're Gucci. I don't have to go back and perfect it. I can, but... I have better things to be doing. Alright, let me think about where to start. Because the thing is, as I said, Faust and Imric both were characters that were created before Ambrosia was. So their stories are a lot older, and it kind of all got muddled up. and I haven't really gone back and straightened it all out. Kind of a whoopsie on my part, but you know what? It's fine, they're side characters. I just have to have enough that I don't leave plot holes behind. Faust is the one that's more fleshed out between the two of them, to be honest, because Emmerich's entire original story got scrapped and then rewrote and then got scrapped again, and now he's still getting rewrote to be specifically an Ambrosia story, which is kind of worried out. As I said, Emmerich was originally supposed to be sort of a genie-like character who could provide an exchange where it didn't have to be something material. Like, you could trade something like a memory, and then he would give you something of equivalent value that you had asked for. You'd make a deal with him, essentially. So it was kind of a mixture of, like, ideas of, like, karma, fey deals, and genies, kind of all together, where it was a wish that you'd get. It didn't have to be something that, like if you wanted a gold bar, Emmerich didn't have to have a gold bar on hand to complete your wish. It would be sort of a contract of sorts in some cases. I was actually kind of like going back and forth whether or not he could just like summon things to him, and I think I ended up on it would be more of like he would promise you to get that thing and then in return you would give him something. But on top of that, the original idea behind Beholders was they had this sort of, I don't want to call it karma because it's not really what karma is. Karma is something, when you look into like the religious connotation of it and the actual definition of it, karma is this very specific thing where, like, over the course of several lifetimes, you build up kind of a disposition, and that determines like what your next reincarnation is going to be, at least to my understanding. And the idea is to build up like good karma over the course of all of your lifetimes, or something to that effect. I need to look more into it, honestly. Because my characters are longer lived, it does kind of make sense in this connotation that I was using it in, but it still is like not a perfect representation. Yeah, exactly, Kira, and I'm trying to avoid, like, when I recognize there's a stereotype for something like the new connotation for karma, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's not, like, add into that nonsense. And so I was trying to find a different name for it, but it was an idea of balance, where, Imric as a character did not necessarily have to consistently have perfectly equivalent deals. Or even, I'm not sure how to explain it. Like, there's a mixture of factors into it where, essentially, if Imric was doing something that he considered good, that would add to his good karma. If he thought it was bad, it would add to his bad karma. And on top of that, if he was giving the person a better deal, it would add to his good karma, and vice versa if he was scamming the shit out of them. And that was how it was for all Beholders, him and also Faust. Faust was always a Beholder from the beginning. But alongside that, there is this idea that they had to be not too good or not too bad, but they were creatures that required a balance in between. And the idea was less on the side of like whether or not they considered the deals they were doing good or bad, but more of just were they giving people fair and equal deals? Was the main thing. And the idea was, like, they could use the system to, if they liked somebody, or they thought their deal was, like, something particularly like, yeah, this is a necessary thing to have happen, they could skew the odds in that person's favor, but then they would have to screw somebody else over in return afterwards, or something to that effect. Yeah, you will see it a running theme in my Storyverse that it is less about good and evil and more about balance and fairness. Because, like, at least to me, in my scope of the world and how I see things, it is very, very difficult to say what is good and what is bad. It will always be something that is an not objective. It's very much a subjective opinion, not objective. And sure, there's a few things that you can say is pretty definitely evil or bad. Like, if you just go kill somebody in cold blood, that's bad. Like, you don't want to do that. That's kind of fucked up. But there are times where the act of killing somebody is an accident or is in self-defense, and it's just like, can you say in this case that the death was something that was bad? Can you really put a name on what that is? Or can you end up saying, and I think this is kind of the idea of, like, the fucked up justice system that we live under, in that, it's still kind of bad that you killed a guy, but, like, also, it was self-defense. Type of thing. It's hard to describe. It's so difficult to describe. But yeah, so there's a lot of, like, I feel like there aren't evil people in my story, but there's mostly just a lot of people that are either very fucked over by the circumstances that they were in, or that they find, like, they feel like they personally were, given an unfair deal. Rather than people who are actually just out there to say fuck everything, fuck you, I'm just an evil bad person. Yes, you understand. You understand. So in that regards, like, Imric was a very powerful creature in that he could do all this, and he was very, very good at it, and he was kind of like, not deified, but he was kind of like a cryptid that everyone knew about. Like, if you accidentally walk the wrong way into a mirror, you suddenly end up in his little domain. And he might offer you a wish, or he might just kick you out, because he didn't like your vibes. And obviously this has all been toned down quite a bit because beholders are no longer at this power level, but and his quote-unquote domain is actually now just he lives at Lunafell, but he's kind of also just like bumming off of Ambrosia. Alongside all the other beholders, like, it's just kind of their hangout spot on Lunafell now. But yeah, he was a very fun character. He was central in that, this is now a defunct story, and I don't remember all the details of it, but there is this one character who is a member of Folkvanger, or no, no, this is pre-Folkvanger, kind of like in the proto-Folkvanger stage, where I didn't quite have a name for everything that was happening in that whole other mess of a story. But there's this character who's like exploring space and whatnot, and they're like, I want a deal, and it was this very like intricate deal, making Imric a very main character in that story, and I don't remember all the details for that. But it did all get kind of revived as like a side part happening in the background of Ambrosia's story. One of the characters who showed up in the very first Ambrosia animatic, I think. I don't remember if they showed up in any of the other ones, is of, makes a deal with Imric alongside the kind of similar beholder terms of service, so to speak. Imric in canon still has this wish ability, but it's a very different one, and I'm still kind of ironing out the details of it, but I still want him to, like, grant wishes to people. It's just it's going to be a little bit more specific. In a similar vein, as I said, Faust was also this original, like, type of beholder that I had written originally. And his deal was he was a very special type of beholder who, where they all have kind of, like, a sense of whether a deal is good or not, like, kind of just like a bargainer's sense. Like, you get a feel for it over time of whether or not something works in your favor or the other person's, or how good a deal actually ends up being. Faust, despite being blind, had a perfect sense of when a deal was fair or not, but this is like a double-edged sword for him. Because the thing about beholders is, again, they're looking for balance. They aren't good, they aren't evil. They want fair and equal trades, and if they give away too much, or they take too much, that puts them out of balance and that actually hurts them very physically. And because of this, and because Faust was, like, extra sensitive to exactly how fair a deal was and exactly how much karma he or somebody else had built up, he was extra sensitive to when a deal wasn't perfectly balanced, and that extended even past just, like, actual, like, handshake contracts to even just things in his daily life. Like, if he wanted to give a hug to his son, he would have to figure out some way to finagle it to, like, a deal type of thing, where it's just like, yes, my son did something for, I did something for my son, and my son did something for me. Even though it was all just like, no, I just want to hug my kid. So it was a very fucked up situation for him, and this is still canon, by the way, because I enjoy writing this sort of, how do you say, angst. Yeah, angst is the word here. The solution, of course, is bro, dude, that's your family. You guys got equal love for each other. It's fine. You can just hug your kid. But he's kind of stupid in that regard, and I think that's both funny and very tragic until he figures this out. But yeah, so he's kind of like a shrewd businessman sort of character who's doing all sorts of wonderful little funky deals in the background, and he wasn't a main character, he was again a side character, in his son's story, Owen, who I can say a little bit about, but I can't say too much about, because Owen is actually a character in a D&D tabletop game, whatever fucking game it ends up being, whether or not it's D&D or not. I'm writing a one-shot, and Owen and Orion, another character in this story, are central figures in it. Thus, I have to be careful about spoilers. That one's called Murder at the Masquerade, if I ever finish it. I hope I do. I don't know, D&D in general's kinda got a bad taste in my mouth. Just, I swear, every time I try to play the fucking game, like, something happens that implodes the entire session, and I'm just like, hey, God, fate, whatever out there is, like, fucking over my social life, can I have one game of a tabletop RPG, please? Can I get through one? Ironically, actual lore gens, like, mythology-based, I didn't look that much into. I was just going off of, like, what I thought would be fun when I was making it. But that's interesting. Now I have the urge to look it up. I wrote a lot of that before I got more into doing actual research and stuff for stories. And I wrote it out of the story before I got into that research phase of doing a ton of background research on literally everything I used as inspiration. But, oh yeah, you're right, it was, yeah, it's never like a monkey paw situation. I mean, the curses each of the Beholder characters have are kind of a monkey paw situation onto themselves, but the deals they make aren't. Like, it's pretty great that, Faust knows exactly how worth anything is when he's, like, doing a deal with any shady businessman. But it is not great in his personal life when he has to work around it. Also, hello! Thank you! Sorry, I was mid-rant when you stopped by to say my art was pretty. I appreciate it, though. But yeah, when I started writing Zakil and Leith, I was going away from the original idea of the Beholders, and I was going more to like unique powers that they might have, that would still kind of have the same weight that the Beholders originally had, where they're these very coveted people that you want to be in with, and you want to have them on your side type of thing. But instead, they kind of grow up in a situation where it's just like, yeah, the people around them are taking advantage of them, and they want out of that. Like, they're fully aware of that. So Faust's power is the exact same, because its power level is, like, something easily balanced. Leith's power has to do with memories, as you might guess from her name. She can manipulate them, very much Naminé style from Kingdom Hearts, only not specific to one person. And Zakil is kind of the newest character of the bunch, and I still haven't figured out what the fuck to do with him. Kind of just like hangs out at the moment. He's just there in the background, and I feel so bad about it. It's alright, his story will come to me eventually. I do at least know that each of the four of these characters comes from a different Fae court. If I haven't mixed them up again, as I tend to do, pretty sure Faust here is supposed to be from the Fall Court. Zakil is from the Summer Court, Emerk is from Spring, and Leith is from Winter. I die. I can't put him in the corner! He's an integral side character to Ambrosia's story, which I'm currently working on. Well, not currently working on, I got distracted again. But I'm mainly currently working on it. Also, don't mind me, I'm sniffly. I don't know why. My dad said the air quality in the area we live is like super bad lately, so maybe that's why I'm all sniffly. Oh, your message is just showing up blank in OBS. 1 second, let me go to YouTube. Oh. I just really didn't want to load that particular emoji. That's kind of funny. I do. But I have to go outside to go to work. And I ride a scooter to work. And so a lot of that gets blown in my face when I feel sick for ages. It's all good, it'll pass. Fall and spring in general are like the worst for my allergies also, so it could just be that. Hello! Oh, Marjorie disappeared. Oh, hi Marjorie! Hi! What are you doing over there? Did you knock Mia down? You brat. Don't swish your tail at me. Don't throw at me. Come here. Come here. Hi. 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 Are you happy I finally got that plastic piece of tape off your tail? That you got mad at me trying to get it off your tail in the first place? It looks so much like Twitter though every time I go on there, and I hate Twitter so much. Not even just like current status of Twitter, which is just rock bottom. I've been so confused by Twitter every moment I've attempted to be on it. Did a message get skipped from here? I was never on Twitter in 2012. But the earliest I was on Twitter, I did not like I did not like it. I was actually, I recall just straight up being confused about how to find people to follow on Twitter. Which is not a problem I had on Tumblr, ironically, considering Twitter did at that point have an algorithm that you could use to find people, and Tumblr still to this day does not have an algorithm. The For You page does not count, because half the posts in the For You page for me are literally just posts from people I follow in a different order. I mean, I'm in particular, like, I have a very negative opinion for Twitter because I prefer like way old internet, like forums and such. I'm a Tumblr user, that's what Daishima is referring to, which is my main social media. It's in chronological order? Okay, that's probably the most convincing thing you've said to me this entire time trying to get me on Blue Sky. You'll never get me back on TikTok, because I fucking hate that about. Even your following feed on TikTok is not in chronological order. It's so stupid, and I hate it so much. You'll also never see me on Instagram, just because I've never actually, like, made an account there and tried it, but every time I've, like, attempted to just look at the site, not logged into an account, everything about the experience infuriates me so much that I just don't want to make an account out of spite. And then I hear about, like, the shit, like, the algorithms, and the way that people steal art and repost it on there, and just everything about it, and I'm just like... No, I'm not, Daishima! Like, everyone in my high school was on Insta. and Snapchat, like, that was their thing. That's what they love. I fucking hate Insta, though. Like, Insta was the thing when I was in high school. Instagram and Snapchat. And Twitter, but that was because Twitter was actually, like, a competent site at the time. Oh man, fuck social media these days though, like, I hate it so much. Why is it so hard to just talk to people? Instagram is scary. Like, oh my gosh. I'm just, like, seriously, I'm just so infuriated about the fact that it does not let you scroll on somebody's account if you're logged out of an account. I feel like it's just the stupidest thing ever, because, like, what happens is if you don't have an Instagram account, and you want to go look at somebody's post on Instagram, first off, you cannot go to a direct link to go to somebody's post on Instagram without it popping up with an unclosable pop-up that says, hey, log into an account or sign up now. Or let's say you're given a direct link to somebody's account on Instagram, and you're like, okay, let me just start scrolling. You'll scroll for like 2 seconds, not even go to like a full second page of posts before an unclosable pop-up shows up that says, hey, log in or sign up now. If you click on any of those posts before you get to that half page scroll down where the pop-up comes up, you get the pop-up that says log in or sign up now. You can't view individual posts unless you have a fucking account. You wanted to use search or any like feature on the site, you have to have an account. I fucking hate Instagram. That's so stupid. It quite literally like drove me away from even thinking about attempting to use it as a place to post my art. It is! It's so bad! Like, why is it so bad? And I'm sad because all of like the online shops I want to follow and like the cool artists I want to follow and like all the things I want to follow are often, if they have an Instagram, that's the only social media they update. They don't make a Twitter, they don't make a Tumblr, they don't make anything. They might make a TikTok, but again, I'm not on TikTok because I also fucking hate TikTok. I will remind me after I end stream today, Daishima. I will make a Blue Sky account, if only just to have it at this point. Yeah, all the pretty things are on Instagram. Why do they do this to me? I don't remember when Facebook was made. I was a child when it was made though, for sure. For the longest time, my Facebook was literally just me, and then my parents, and then my grandparents, and then like a cousin or two. But I couldn't find all my family members on there, and I gave up after a while, and then they just started adding me, and I didn't use Facebook. I went on Facebook to play Farmville. And then at some point, I got really fed up with like how much like when I started learning about like the, you know, entire lack of privacy on Facebook, midway through high school, I tried to get all my friends onto Discord because I was like, please, for the love of fucking God, I hate Facebook so much, and I couldn't get them to move. I think like 2 of them made accounts, but none of them actually figured out how to get Discord to work. And I was in the situation where it's just like, I need you to get off Facebook because of how bad its data privacy is, but also, I really can't fight you on this because I'm the same fucking way when it comes to social media. Also, I just realized this is covering up half the drawing now. Hang on. I'll put them in the corner. They're just my little guys. That is because, and I say this in the kindest, most understanding / I am this too way, it's because you're terminally online. It's because you've been on the internet and you've gotten used to wacky social media things, and thus Discord makes perfect sense to you. And I know this because when I opened up Discord for the first time, everything was completely intuitive because I had previously used TeamSpeak and Skype, and their UIs are garbage compared to Discord's. Yes! I was on Facebook for an incredibly long period of time. I think my Facebook account technically still exists. I was on... Oh, what the fuck was the other one? It wasn't TeamSpeak. My parents, before there was Discord and before Skype was, like, actually competent, there was another, like, online thing that people used for voice calls, and I was using that when I was, like, 13 with my parents, so we could all play World of Warcraft. Yeah! Ventrilo! It was Ventrilo, for sure. It wasn't Mumble, it was definitely Ventrilo. And I know it was Ventrilo, not Mumble, because I heard the name Mumble and I was like, oh, that's a perfect name for that. I'm mad we're not using that instead. And I also remember it was Ventrilo because Ventrilo fucking sucked. It was so bad, I could never get it to work. I mean, it also probably didn't help that, like, even if it did work, they would be hearing tiny 13-year-old me's voice. And I really just needed to hear everybody else on the call. I'm sure it did, because Ventrilo's was trash. It was really garbage. I don't know, I didn't really know, like, any of that at the time. I just used whatever my parents handed to me. And I think I was only invited onto World of Warcraft raids like twice before I got kicked off, because the undiagnosed ADHD meant I jumped around with my character a bunch and I accidentally aggroed trash mobs onto the entire raid, and they did not like that. I did know that TeamSpeak was still around, and I'm glad that they've improved in quality. I think that there should never be a monopoly on any particular thing, so I'm glad there's a Discord alternative for voice chatting. Oh god, yeah. Oh god. Headset quality mics. Yeah, oh for sure. If somebody tells me to download Skype for literally fucking anything, I'll kill them. We use Microsoft Teams at work, which is already bad enough, let me tell you. But if they ever told me to download Skype for work, I think I would actually just quit on the spot. I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. I don't care how much better it's been made since I last used it. It was that bad. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Teams is not bad, especially when it comes to video call stuff, and the way that it integrates into the other stuff in, like, the Microsoft, like, ecosystem. I actually think Teams is not that bad. It's crap for anything other than work purposes. But it works perfectly fine for a business purpose. I would not use it for anything where I wanted actually decent audio quality, and I feel so bad for anyone who's not, like, local to the United States that has to use it for work, because they often can't use it directly. It's such a complicated mess. But it is functional, and it is typically stable, so I'll give it that. This is supposed to be Emric, I think. Oh, why did I give him the fucking complicated mask and make him the person that's shaking his head? I'm an idiot. This should have been a kill. was originally Sakil, and then I was like, well, Sakil doesn't speak, and technically the character does speak at this point in time in the song, and it'd be confusing. I overthink my animatics too much, if you couldn't tell. I haven't used Slack recently enough to know if it was better, but if I compared the experience I had for using Slack to what I've been using for Teams, which is still fairly recent, it's just, it would have been like 2019 Slack, Teams is way better, like 1000% better. At least in terms of like my personal experience with it. I've heard that it has gotten improved a lot. That's so mean. What the fuck? You didn't have to call me out like this, okay? Look, I know I have anxiety. I'm working on it. Anyways, Slack was infinitely worse than Teams at the point in time that I used it. But in Slack's defense, to my knowledge, they have a dark mode now, and they didn't have a dark mode at the time that I was forced to use it, which was like 90% of my hatred for it at the time. But 90% of my hatred for it was the fact that they only had light mode and they were refusing to make a dark mode at the time. But to my understanding, there is an official dark mode for it now. And thus, like, it's probably decent, but I hate it for that reason still. It could have also just been like the particular version that I was forced to use at work did not have a light mode. Cause I don't lie, that company was kind of trash. And very much cheapskates. And also all around awful. Don't work. If you have a choice, do not work for a startup. Hey, this is me begging you. This is me pleading you. When you see the word startup on any sort of like employment application, that's the devil talking when they ask you to apply. Don't work for startups. Contract jobs are great, and I have recommended the experience. I did contract work. That was fun. Don't work for a startup. Not directly. If it's for a contract, you're probably safe. Do not get employed at a startup. Like, it's one thing to hear about crunch when it comes to game dev jobs and how just awful it is. And it's another to watch the slow drain of sanity and patience and just ability to function as a human being for the people around you as they are chained to a company that refuses to admit it's past the startup stage and needs to actually hire people instead of working their employees to the bone. I'd go into more detail about that, but I think it's a little too personal for stream about what I think that whole environment caused for the employees that were still there when I was let go because of COVID situation. But I've gotta say, despite everything, I am so glad they let me go, cause holy fuck. Don't work for startups. Don't do it. It is not worth it. It truly, unless they are paying you like $1 bazillion, could not be less worth it. I am a very, this I know I can't say, I'm a very schedule-oriented person. If you tell me to come in at 9 a.m. and leave at 5 p.m., I will do that every single day. I will remember that. And that is what I did for this job. I worked exactly 8 hours, and I left when those 8 hours were up. And every time I came in and every time I left, there would be at least 3 or 4 people who were in there before I was, and left like hours after I did. And every time, I'd turn to them and be like, this is not good for your sanity. Why? Don't work for a startup. The culture in any startup, especially when it gets to that point, it will slowly kill you, is what I felt like was happening to everyone around me. It was genuinely horrifying. And on that happy note, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to go on that tangent. Ah! I can't help it. Somebody says something like I know you were just making a joke, Dad, but like, I feel like sometimes when I say something and it sounds like a joke, but I'm being serious, and I'm just like, no, you don't understand. This is not a joke. I'm genuinely saying, don't do this. And I get that we're all messing around, just building off jokes and stuff, but yeah, no. Where's my cats? There's one. Hi. Marjorie. Hi. Yeah, oh hi. Oh, cute stretch. So I love moths, and I especially love Luna moths because I'm a basic bitch. And I feel really bad because I keep, for all of my moth, like, themed characters, I keep giving them Luna moth designs. I'm like, I need to give love to, like, another kind of moth. Cause I've got Luna, who's actually, like, just straight up a fucking Luna moth. And I've got Emmer here, who also's got, like, extreme Luna moth vibes, and I'm like, I need to pick another moth. I really do. They can't all be Luna moths. I did have fun thinking about the bugs to represent all these characters with, because I want them to all be very different ones. But all be like little creatures. So we've got Sakil, who's a bee, of course. Emmerich, who's a moth. Leaf is represented by a dragonfly, and then Foss got basically bitch butterfly. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, Kira, I feel you. Were they talking to, like, it was also a situation where it's just like, I need to interrupt this person before they eat shit, but they're talking still, and I don't know when to interrupt. Because that's the situation I get into all the time. Now I've just given up, I just interrupt as soon as I fucking possibly can. Mainly because I keep having people over-explain things to me. Mini air horn! I kind of do. Like, I don't know how quiet my voice shows up on stream because I've bass boosted it a bunch. And hopefully it's enough. But in real life, people cannot fucking hear me. And I don't know if it's just I'm that quiet or if I just have a particularly ignorable voice. But I feel like if I want to get somebody's attention and they're not paying attention to me, like, I have to actually scream. Like, it feels like I'm screaming constantly, and I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't want to be screaming at people. It feels like I'm yelling at people all the time. But it's the only way for them to hear me. I need to draw this in a way that I can reorient the head and not draw the rest of this over and over. Because I'm not to the point of insanity yet where I want to actually animate things. No, I'm immune to sugar. I don't think I've ever gotten a sugar rush before. Actually, probably clarification here. I don't trust that I've ever actually had a sugar rush or a caffeine rush before. I am, like, mildly affected by caffeine. I am, like, tired in the mornings because I do drink a lot of caffeine. But I can go without caffeine for a day and be perfectly fine. I'm not, like, addicted to it like people are addicted to coffee. I'm also just not a coffee person, but when I was younger, like, the first time I tried, like, actual coffee for the first time, I think my dad was just fucking with me, but he was like, oh my god, you started talking so fast we couldn't understand you, you're not allowed to have coffee anymore. I'm just like, I don't know about that one, Chief. I kind of just do that in general, I'm pretty sure, sir. And also, half the shit you say is you fucking with me, Dad. I don't know if you're punking me this time or not. I probably am, like, actually addicted to caffeine in that I do enjoy it, and I would rather not go without soda. But I don't get, like, ravenous without it or anything. Yeah, I should probably examine how it affects my anxiety more, honestly, because I'm pretty sure caffeine is affecting my anxiety. Because I have got some pretty extreme anxiety. Whoopsie. But it's fine, it's manageable. Yeah, that is true. Like, I think just about everyone I know is addicted to caffeine, and the only person who's not addicted to caffeine is my dad, because he's a bewildering person. He will cold turkey cut out, like, soda and stuff from his routine for, like, a solid, like, 6 months, and then he'll just drink a couple of sodas here and there for a couple months, and he's just like, oh, I'm drinking too much soda again, and then he'll cold turkey cut it again. Like, when he used to drink a ton of soda, like, I get my habits from somewhere, of course, and he cold turkey cut it out. I'm just like, are you an insane person? How? I mean, I already thought you were insane because of your work habits, but, like, what the fuck? I'm sure my heart rate is perfectly normal and there's nothing to worry about. I have never checked my heart rate. Because the times I have, they're always just like, wow, your heart rate's really fast. I'm like, yeah, I don't exercise. That's probably why. and I don't know how to breathe properly when I am exercising, so I sound like a dying horse whenever I do. My father has tried and failed to teach me how to properly breathe while exercising. It has not worked. I think it's just because... what's the word? Not taught myself. I learned to breathe very quietly, which means I breathe extremely shallowly. So when I try to breathe properly for exercise, it doesn't hurt, but like it feels bad. That's all I can really say. And I don't know if it's because it's just like I'm using those muscles differently, or if there's something I should actually be worried about. Marjorie, what are you looking at? Oh, she blipped at me! Oh, hello! Come here, that was so cute! Oh my goodness, it is so cute when either of them blip. That is true, yes. And maybe it's that. Maybe it's just I have a very small lung capacity because I never took a wind instrument in high school for band. Maybe percussion was a mistake. Specifically because I don't have lung capacity. Oh, come here. Oh, you're so cute and soft and wonderful and cute and cozy. Yes, bonking stuff is very fun and is exactly the reason I picked percussion. If I recall correctly, I think my choices were percussion, flute, because my friends were all doing flute or clarinet. I did not want to be a clarinet, but I put it on there as my last option because my sister was doing clarinet for band, and she's very good at it, so I could, like, get help from her. But I really wanted percussion. And I was very excited to get percussion, and then I learned that percussion fucking sucks, because all of the guys hog all of the fun instruments to bang on. I just wanted to play the bass drum! Oh my goodness, she's so cute! She's so cute and she's not being a menace. They're so mad that the couch is gone. They've been so confused. They're like, hey, are you bringing that back? We liked that couch. Meow, meow, meow. Now that there's room in the living room, I'm kind of tempted to see if I can get some of those shelves for cats to jump on, but I don't know if, like, because they're Maine Coons, they might be too heavy for those. Oh no! I feel that though. I hated doing recorder during, like, elementary school because my hands were way too tiny for the recorder. And I couldn't play anything properly on it. I couldn't even play Hot Cross Buns right. Also, it's such a shrill instrument. I don't know why it's so shrill. At least the ones that we played were really shrill. Maybe a proper recorder sounds lovely. I wouldn't know. I've always had really bad luck with that sort of thing, because, like, the recorder, of course, was garbage, and then, like, when I was taking band, we all had to like rent out our snare drum and bell set for some godforsaken reason. And we'd have to carry that shit to school, which was absolutely stupid. Holy shit. But like, the company we had to rent them from, like, the snare drum that I got, I don't know if it was like out of tune or what was wrong with it, but when you hit it properly, it had this like ringing noise to it. It sounded wrong. It did not sound like a proper snare drum. Like, something was deeply wrong with this instrument, and I do not know what it was. But like they tried everything. Like, I think they tried like tightening and loosening the screws on it, and they had me put this like plastic ring on top that was supposed to help like fix the vibration of it or something, and it did absolutely fucking nothing. And so my snare drum always sounded completely wrong, and I was trying so hard to learn how to properly do all the drum things on it, but it always sounded off because of that. I'm just glad that when I returned it, they weren't like, hey, you broke it. It didn't sound like this before. Because if they would have said that, I'd been like, no, I fucking didn't. It came like this. You wouldn't like it if I got a drum set, would you? It would be very fun, though. It would be so cute. I thought about getting a drum set. Cause I miss playing the drums. It was a lot of fun. I wish you guys could see her right now. She is melting. She keeps almost falling off my lap. Archie, you're gonna fall. You gotta sit still. She keeps like sliding. I don't know why. Why are you sliding? You're doing it again! Please don't claw me. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, ow, ow. Thank you. We're trying to avoid clawing me deeply. Bye! You didn't like that? You look so happy though. Why don't you come in? Come back. You're so cute. That was so fun. She was indeed being a cat. Oh, Emmerich's ears don't peek out very far from behind the mask. It's interesting. I think I need to just cut this bit out because the bit's correct. And I don't want to redraw it. I just sneeze real quick, so I'm gonna mute myself. I'm not very good at reminding myself to consistently practice something like breathing. And so even, like, no matter how much practice I get doing it correctly, I still forget. And, like, it's unlearning a habit that I've had for 20 plus years to breathe quietly. It was very funny, like, when my dad was trying to help me exercise and stuff, he was just like, I want you to breathe as noisily and nastily as possible. And I'm just like, Dad, I cannot express to you how anxiety-inducing that entire statement is. What the fuck? And he's like, no, you don't understand. Your lung capacity is such shit because you don't breathe deeply. I'm like, you're not wrong. But come on, can we get some baby steps in there? I think it also, like, just doesn't help, because, like, I learned to breathe quietly, and then I proceeded to have the worst fucking sinuses in the world. So even though I breathe quietly, I'm still a noisy breather. And thus, the cycle, like, implodes on itself, trying to get me to sniffle quietly, even. Which is not possible. Oh yeah, I do that too. If I had like a quarter for every time somebody threatened to put a bell on me because I walked too quietly behind them, I would be fucking rich. These hands in particular are why I do not want to draw this frame 3 times. Because this is gonna be awful. Imric's head alone is gonna be annoying enough. Ooh, sorry. I might want this. I think his hands are too close together. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good idea. I have definitely noticed that associating one thing with another thing does make it easier to remember. Like, I can remember to do the dishes more, or to cook more if I do both of those tasks at the same time. So, like, I'll start cooking a meal, and then I will start washing the dishes as it's, like, cooking, and I don't have to stir or anything. And same thing with my medication. I remember to take my newer meds by remembering to take them with my older meds. Do I want him to actually cross his fingers? I think I do. This is gonna be so annoying. Why are hands difficult? This is the worst hand pose to draw, because you have to actually draw 2 hands at the same time. Shut the fuck up, Daishima. It just looks weird if he's staring straight into the camera. They're all around a poker table. His hands should be visible. I would draw them all holding cards, but I think I would actually go fucking insane if I had to do that. Oh, that actually reminds me. So, I got the PSD for my upcoming model, which looks fantastic, by the way. I'm so excited that the rigging is getting started soon. And I noticed something on the model. I was like, hey, I just want to double check this one thing. But I had been like going through all the toggles and stuff, and I forgot one of the toggles I got was Ambrosia doing the middle finger at the camera. And I forgot I had that toggle on when I took a screenshot. And then, like, right as I was about to send the email, I realized that I still had that toggle, and I was like, oh god, I have to retake this screenshot. Because it just seems so mean. It had the feeling of, like, I was flipping them off for fucking something up when that was not the case. It was just an accident. I am really excited about that model though. I'm thrilled to have a properly rigged model for once. Sorry, I should say properly rigged main model. My little gremlin chibi is rigged just perfectly fine the way it is. Did anything else come out of the Kevin Art drama, by the way? My previous rigger? Because I know a little bit came out. But I don't know if anything else came up. Not to talk about drama live. I just remembered that whole situation. If anyone doesn't know that situation and wants to know, though, I am happy to talk about it. I can't honestly, the wildest thing about that situation, and him getting called out for all that shit, is that me complaining about him doing a bunch of that shit to me possibly have people investigating more shit he's doing. Oh goodness. This is months ago. This is old drama. This is already done and dusted tea that that people have shared. I didn't even know this was happening, cause I don't go on Twitter anymore. But this Twitter is where this guy was. For the most part. So, to my understanding, that is where this drama, spiraled. But, long story short, the previous main model I had, the one that I have a bunch of complaints about and is improperly rigged in several locations, it turns out the rigger for it had been using a template for all of his rigs, except for, I guess, maybe like his fanciest, most impressive customer ones, but even those were also using the same base rig, and he just did a little bit better job of hiding it on theirs. And I think, like, originally it was, like, some big popular VTuber had commissioned him, and he, like, changed up a bunch of the model art, and that pissed people off, especially the model artist. And then there was some drama where because this motherfucker did not disclose that he was using a base rig, and was using this for every single model that he had ever made, if you had one of his rigs, if you looked inside the files for it, because he would give you the actual CMOC 3 file, the file that you can open up in Cubism and edit yourself, like, he would give you the source files for that. That was a part of the contract that you had with him, is that he would give you that. Apparently, some of the rigs, including mine, apparently, I did not know this, but somebody I shared the rig with found this out, had the texture files for, like, a bazillion different people, all in the same file still. And so they were getting passed around without the owner's knowledge. And probably, like, even just, like for me, example, I didn't look in my CMOC 3 that much, because I don't understand rigging. But somebody who I had complained about my model with, but was also like, hey, you know, the physics on that are pretty decent. Do you mind if I take a look? And I was like, sure, fuck it, have fun. They noticed that those files were in my CMOC 3. And it like spiraled out of control, because, like, again, he was not disclosing the fact that he was charging people full rig prices for literally a put your character here rig. And there's just so much going on. For me specifically, the friend in particular was just like, hey, so we're gathering evidence against this guy, and I remember you complaining a lot about him a while back. Do you mind giving me a summary of that real quick? And I was just like, hold your drink, I got you. And then as it turns out, we found evidence of him breaking my contract with him. I don't know what to do about that. I mean, it's not a big deal because I'm not going to use that rig anymore in the first place. Even before all of this shit that came out. But at the same time, it's kind of just like, huh. That's a little awkward. Yeah, oh my gosh, like, I stand by Kiri. Like, Kiri, for the most part, at least what you've described to me, she kept up communication, she showed us many work in progresses, she had legitimate reasons for why you had so many delays. But most importantly, she kept up communication, and she was upfront about things. This motherfucker, I went back in my DMs with him, to make sure, like, I got all my shit straight, and I went, oh my god, you should see the last message I got from him. Also, he's deleted a bunch of messages that very clearly, like, showcase that he's a fucking idiot. Essentially, like, he's the guy, so Kevin VX Art, or whatever the fuck his username is, it's some conglomerate of bullshit that's just Kevin and Art mixed together. He's the guy who's, like, done a bunch of cool model things, like transformed full models into chibi models. Yeah, exactly, like, it's a learning experience for Kiri that she's not gonna make that mistake again. This guy's just a fucking asshole. But, like, there's like a string of messages between me and him where he claimed that he couldn't chibify certain parts of my model because it didn't work properly. And now that it's been revealed that this guy was practically scamming clients up front by not disclosing that he was using a base rig, it's very clear that the reason that he couldn't chibify those parts of the model is because they weren't part of the base rig that he had made for this chibification toggle, which is just so stupid, like incredibly stupid. And it's so blatantly obviously clear that he deleted those messages when this came out specifically because they would showcase that. But what really gets me is with my communication with him. First of all, he did not correct anything on my model despite it being in the period of time where he should have corrected things on my model, so that was another part of his contract that he broke with me, really, honestly. And also, he just would not communicate with me the slightest. He literally basically just dropped the finished rig on me and then just was like, bye, peace, gone forever. He'd like show up if I was like suddenly like, hey, I'm getting a weird issue, but he wouldn't actually be helpful or anything. It was always things that I had to figure out myself, which is fine. Like, he doesn't have to like sit there and bug fix every single thing with my model for me. But when there's like an actual legitimate like problem with the rigging, he would just ghost me. And the most blatant stupid bit of that happening was me going, hey, I've been thinking about adding some new things to my model recently, and I'd like to know if I could commission you for that. And his only message, he did not post any other message after this. It was literally just, he said, hi, and then did not continue the message. And I don't know what happened there, if he was like just in the middle of something or forgot to reply or whatever, but it's just so funny looking back at my messages where it's just like, wow, you really were just ghosting me this entire time in the stupidest way. Anyways, yeah, don't commission that guy. He's not a good guy to commission. Commission Kiri. Kiri's good. She'll do good by you. If you want proof, go look at Daishima's model. And she did, who else has she done? Was it... Hold on, Brain's booting up. She's done many good models. Yeah, that's good enough. Grammar good. I'm so good at grammar, I'm making my own language. I need my actual reference framework because the sleeves are weird. Okay. Okay. Jesus. If I didn't have my heart set on the person that I'm getting my rig from, I probably would have commissioned her as well when she opened again. But I knew where my heart was. Yeah, oh my gosh, like genuinely the rigging process is so cool to watch. And it is fun, it is very fun, but there's a certain part of it where it just starts breaking my brain personally, and I'm just like, this makes sense to me in theory, but I cannot get the program to do what I want it to do. Oh, that's cool. That's a lot of really useful skills, too. Like, that's puppet animation, 3D, art, as well as 2D art, I'm assuming, and 3D animation. That's a huge skill set to have. I think a lot of people balk at the prices for Life to Do things without realizing that, first of all, it's a commercial thing. This is something that you're allowed to make money off of, and you are essentially buying those rights to do that with. But second of all, it's a really fucking difficult thing to do. Like, that's a lot of very difficult skills to learn. And the end result, the final model, like, with normal puppeteering animation, you only have to make the rig look good for the places that it's going to appear in that animation, but for a live 2D model, you have to make sure that shit looks good from every angle, because there's no swapping camera angles or whatnot. That didn't make any sense, but hopefully it made some sense. I'm tired. It's been a long week. Mercy on my brain, please. For some godforsaken reason, it was like the week of like getting back into Guild Wars 2 as well, which means I'm doing math constantly because I'm trying to craft things, which is a mistake. But I want my legendaries. And I really, really want the Halloween skin that puts bats around your character. It's integral to my enjoyment of the game. I disagree. I think Live 2D will remain just as popular. For one, I think, at least personally, especially for people who are primarily 2D artists, it is a lot easier to wrap your head around what is needed for it in comparison to 3D, which is a beast of its own. But secondarily, I personally believe that the stylization that you will see in 3D art and 3D models compared to the stylization you will see in 2D models will always set apart 2D models having the preferred stylization. And it's not because 3D cannot get that same stylization. It is very possible to make 3D things look 2D. I'm fully aware of that. I've seen it a lot. However, and this is very important, you said it yourself, sufficiently advanced 3D tools. On top of that, you have to have the actual skills to make it look that good. And especially with beginner 3D artists, you will not get that same level of skill. And people who are looking for that 2D style will not be willing to pay that same amount for a 3D model if they're not interested in 3D specific things that they are interested in. They will just pay for the 2D model that is not as advanced and can't do as much with 3D tools, but gets the job done. Because at this point in time, at least, when I've looked at prices for 3D models versus 2D models are significantly more in the range of people's price range if they're going for a full 3D humanoid. If they're going for like a little chibi guy, like just a little creature, then yeah, a 3D model will definitely be cheaper, honestly. But for the most part, it still is much more in people's price range to get a 2D model. I'm sure we'll see like surges of higher end 3D models and stuff, but I don't think 2D is gonna go away. I really don't. Unless all of the corpo VTubers, like, I'm sure they're all trying to get 3D models just because you can use it in so many like game mods and stuff. But I don't think they're ever going to replace fully the like main like 2D models that those characters use, because just the priciness of getting something that replicates the same feel is just it's gonna be absurd. And the number of people that have that skill is just not high enough, I don't think. At some point in time, somebody is going to create like some kind of like asset pack or download that people can use very easily to recreate those things. Like, for example, I think a good example of this is the technology that Vroid uses to put lines on the edge of the models. Like, well, now everyone has that, and it's not because Vroid has that, it's because I think Unity has that, or some other thing has that. Somebody developed that shader at some point in time, and now everyone uses it to make their 3D models look anime, because they got anime lines now. And it's gonna be some tool like that, or some technique with textures that everyone starts learning how to do, and then we'll have a bunch of 3D models. But I still even think then, like, there's gonna be enough people who are attached to the way that 2D models look that they're still gonna want 2D models. I think me personally, I would want something, not necessarily of like professional uber quality, but like something stylized, like how this is on my mind because I was just watching for the trailers for season 2, like how Arcane is stylized, something like that, or like Hi-Fi Rush, or just any like decently stylized game or show that's in 3D. And I have seen such a tiny subsection of artists that have that sort of stylization happening. And I'm not interested in just having like my 2D model imprinted on a 3D model. If I wanted that, I would just remake my Vroid. Yes, you are correct. There's always going to be a limitation with 2D in that everything has to be drawn. Every single thing has to be drawn. Compared to 3D having that range of being something that just, at its core, is built to move and look like a human from all angles. It's in the same dimensional space as we are, and that is why it can do all the things it can do. But I think the point that I'm thinking of and the point that you're thinking of is just like, sure, big, expensive corpo VTubers and people who make a lot of money from VTubing, they're gonna want those high-end models that can do everything that they want, and more, and absurd bullshit that they don't actually need. But at the end of the day, most people just use avatars as avatars. And in the grand scheme of things, and the grand scope of what is going to be available for offer and what people are going to want and what people are going to pay for, is going to be those quote-unquote lower-end models. So yeah, sure. At some point, the technology will evolve, and we'll get some absurd bullshit, like the person who's doing fucking 180 turns in live 2D absurd. But I don't know, like, for me personally, as like, I wouldn't really call myself an innovator. Innovator in the sense of just like, I see a problem with my own shit and I stick some duct tape on it and get it to work again the way I want it to. I think you see limitations as a blocker, and I see limitations as a challenge. Like, for me, I see the point of looking at live 2D and saying, I'm gonna make this thing turn 360 degrees. Either because I want the challenge, or I think it's funny, or this will get me lots of views on Twitter. I see the point in doing that. to me, that is a limitation of Live 2D, but it doesn't block it from happening. And it doesn't mean, like, yeah, it's gonna be absurd if somebody pays for that sort of thing. Like, that's bullshit. You don't need that for a Live 2D model. you barely need it for, like, a 3D model. Most of the 3D models I see, like, they either use them in Beat Saber or VR chat, or they're just head-on again, like a normal VTuber Live 2D model. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, why the fuck not, is the reason. It doesn't matter, like... it's a creativity thing, like, go, be free. Let your mind figure out the stupidest things you can do in Live 2D. Why the fuck not? Will you ever do it again? Probably not, but you proved it was possible. And that stands for something. And, like, for you... yeah, it sounds absurd to draw 4 models for having the entire 180-degree head turn, because that's not something that's within your budget. And honestly, it probably shouldn't be, because you don't need that sort of fanciness for the stuff that you do. I don't know, like, I feel like I'm looking at it from the angle of just, like, what are most people going to want out of this? And you're looking at it from an angle of, like, I'm not even sure. I can't tell what your angle on it is. Because it's like, it's kind of like, oh, what's the high-end corpo VTuber going for? But it's also not, and that's confusing. That sounds like either a bunch of cowards or a bunch of lazy assholes who are mad that their quality doesn't match up to what people are expecting, and people are getting mad at their prices. And that's a combination of people being assholes about the fact that art is expensive to do, and should be, because it is a difficult skill, and it is a luxury. Probably some mixture of, like, AI bullshit in that whole shebang, and then also, people just not learning how to use it correctly. Because Live 2D is difficult. It's always been difficult, and what the fuck do you mean how hard Live 2D has gotten now? Like, that's people setting their own standards for themselves. Okay, yeah, no, that's a bunch of people saying, hey, I've put the standard, like, 300 miles above the ceiling, and now I'm mad that I've done that to myself, because now I have to be better. And no, you don't. Capitalism is a lie. You're already good at making models. You don't have to do more. You just have to continue making good models. You've set the quality standard for yourself. You can set it lower if you have to. No, that is 1000% people being stupid and creating drama for absolutely no reason. That is completely different from the idea of innovating with a program that has room for innovation. That is just stupid. Like, that is literally people getting mad at themselves for being too good at art. Absolute bullshit. Like the next 2-3 months. What the fuck do you mean they're getting mad that they've made it too difficult for themselves? Did Cubism have an update where they inverted all the physics controls? Because if Cubism didn't do an update that did some bullshit like that, which I doubt it would do, because Cubism is a fully fleshed out program already, and there would be absolutely no reason to do any sort of absurd bullshit like that with it. There's no reason whatsoever for any of these high-tier artists who are paid literally fucking thousands for their art and are living well off of that sort of shit to come back and complain and say they've made their own job too difficult. That is on them.
And I don't want to hear any bullshit. Like, that's not their... You know what they can do? They can say, no, that's fucking ridiculous. You'd have to pay me $1 million to do that for every single one of you fuckers. That's on them. They can say no. They can say no. That was some asshole in a basement who spent 6 months doing one singular head turn for the fucking shit. I don't even know. Just to do it. They are not obligated to fulfill the standards of other people. The only standards they have to live up to are the ones that they set for themselves. And if people are calling in for their 2.0s and they're asking for absurd bullshit, they can tell them that they're asking for absurd bullshit that they don't need. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. Oh my god, I was just about to go into a rant about, like, if some other fuckers are, like, coming into their comments on Twitter and going, like, hey, why don't you do all these cool, wacky things that these people are innovating these days? Like, just... Oh my god. You just happened to beat me, like, by 5 seconds to it. I just... This is what social media does to people, at its core, though. And it's the real problem here, is that everyone is held to this weird standard that somebody else has set for themselves, or hasn't even actually set for themselves. Like in this case, I think the 360 degree head turn is a great example of cool bullshit to do in Live 2D that literally fucking no one needs. Literally, not a singular person needs for their actual model. And that's what all of these people for their 2.0s, for whatever latest feature they're asking for to stay on top of the food chain of trendy fad bullshit, that is the only thing keeping them from dropping down in the ranks of all of these VTubers who are just there to be an influencer. Like, that's all it is. That's all it is. And I don't think these people understand that the thing that makes you a good VTuber, a good streamer or content creator, whatever you want to fucking call it, it's just being good at that thing and not having the fanciest thingamajig to do fucking whatever. And there's proof of this. Like, I'll be honest, I don't go out there and I don't watch a lot of people. I watch my friends stream because I'm just kind of in streams to hang out with my friends. There's a couple people that I'll watch stream that I'm actually just fans of, but it's not very many. But I remember, like, a couple of years ago, early on in, like, VTubing and whatnot, I think right around the time that PNG tubing was becoming more of a legitimate thing and people were, like, actually like, hey, yeah, you know, you don't need a full avatar to do this shebang. You can just be a PNG on the stream. There was this Snake VTuber who was a PNG tuber, and he had, like, the coolest PNG tuber thing that I've ever seen. It had, like, 50 different reactions. All of them were just still frames. Like, it would have, like a normal frame and then a frame with the mouth open for when he was talking, but it would all just be still frames of different reaction poses. And it was cool because this guy knew how to act and he knew how to pick the right frames at the right time to push buttons for on his stream deck. That's the bitch! That's the bitch! And he was super popular, I guess because he was funny or something. I don't know. I didn't really watch him. I like popped into a couple of his streams because one of my friends raided into him a couple of times and like was kind of like that acquaintance level friendship type of thing where it's just like, yeah, we're both VTubers in the community and I guess we're both green, so we've got some commonality there. But I don't know. I legitimately don't know the details of that. But like, he was popular because he was funny and he had personality and people were interested in that, and he was good at using his PNG model. It was not an advanced, like, it wasn't advanced in any way compared to stuff that was happening with normal models. If anything, it could have literally just been a frozen VTuber live 2D that just happened to have like 30 toggles on it. I don't know if, I think he was using some specialized PNG software, but even still, like, I'm a programmer, I could make that in like fucking 2 hours. It would be that easy. And it wouldn't have a single bug. It would be super fucking easy to make something like that. Like, it wasn't anything advanced. It's just, he knew how to use his model properly, which is like a big thing with VTubing, and what makes it an intriguing way to stream is acting with your model. And then it turns out he is a huge piece of crap, and then literally everyone fucking abandoned him because he was a huge piece of crap. And it didn't matter that his model was advanced and cool and whatnot. Nobody wants to be friends with a piece of crap, or watch somebody who's a piece of crap. Like, it does not matter how cool your fancy your model is. Your design, your character design at its core, the only thing that it does is, if it looks cooler than the stream that's next to yours, is maybe the reason your stream gets clicked on first. But as soon as somebody is in your stream chat, the thing that keeps them there is you being the streamer good. Do stream good. Like, it just... I'm frustrated by people. Like, I won't lie, when the chibi model thing came out, for one of my model, my other model is being made, the one that's got like the whole drama dude behind it now. Like, yes, I jumped on a trend because it was something that I saw. It was like, oh, this would be an actual useful toggle for me. I know people in my stream chat would want me to use this, or would want to constantly chipify and unchipify me because they like turning on and off my toggles constantly. Kind of like how I make you bald every time I go into your chat, Taishiba. Like, I could see this being something that interests people in my chat. But it wouldn't be interesting if I didn't already have that thing set up, and there'd be no reason for me to have that added to my model without that knowledge that it would be something in my stream that is used. Like, I think another example of this is, I have to ask for hat toggles now every time I get a new model, because I know people want to steal my hat. Like, I got the hat toggle on my original model just so, like, if I was too tall for, like, a video game before a... for like a video game, or like if I was in a collab or something, I got the hat toggle for that. And then I thought, hey, you know, it would be funny if people could steal my hat. That came after. I'm just, I'm very frustrated by people hopping on trends and then getting mad that hopping on a trend costs money and time and effort, especially when it comes to something like animation. Because that's what live 2D rigging is. It is animation, and it is a very difficult, specific kind of animation that takes a lot of skill to do. Like, I don't think it's wrong for all of those studios, live 2D studios, to complain that people are asking for unreal expectations of them. I think that's a perfectly valid claim, but to claim that live 2D rigging at its core has gotten too hard because people are setting unrealistic expectations is a bullshit statement. And I know I'm being pedantic and nitpicky about just the way that they're wording it, but they're wording it in a stupid way, and I feel like this is a respectable time to get pedantic and nitpicky about the way that they're saying things. Live 2D has not gotten more difficult since it began. It's gotten easier because people have found tricks and explained things and added to the huge library of tutorials that are out there. And they need to shut the fuck up about difficulty because they set their own standards. I'm just like, I'm incredibly frustrated by the way that this has been explained to me by you, Daishima, in that it makes them sound like such assholes. And I'm sure that they actually worded it that way, but also it's just like, it's so absurdly funny for the people who are like, the people that set the standards of what a decent high-end model looks like are the ones that are complaining Live 2D is hard. Like, you cannot do that when you are the people who are setting the bar. You can say it's difficult to innovate. That's not a problem. That's understandable. Yes, innovation is difficult, but that is not what you're doing here. You're getting mad that people are asking you for trendy things that have already been created. Yes, 100%, 1,000. Yes, absolutely. All rigs look the same to the typical viewer. Like, if you've got me in your chat, I am nitpicking your model, and that's just because I like to, like, dissect a model and see how it works. But even me, like, if your model's a little wonky in a bunch of ways, I'm not gonna give a fucking shit. Who cares? It's a piece of animation. It doesn't have to look perfect 1,000% of the time. I don't give a shit. I definitely appreciate models that are detailed and well done. That's why I picked the rigger that I did, because I saw her work on Akami's model, and I was like, hot damn, I want that. But that's me setting the standard. I'm sure, like, there's gonna be some things, of course, with my new model that longtime viewers who have seen my old model are gonna be like, wow, that is so much better. And I think, in my case at least, there's gonna be a few things where it's just like, yeah, okay, there's a definite leap in quality here. Specifically because of my, my model being literally just somebody's copy-pasted settings, apparently. But, like, yeah, like, I think the only glaring issue in the models I have currently that people regularly notice is just my gremlin model's hat, the little weird bounce when I lean my head back and forth. And that was something, like, that even was something I was specifically told about by my rigger and model creator, and they're like, hey, this is the best way I've seen to, or the best way I've personally figured out how to fix this issue. Are you okay with it looking like this? And I was like, yeah, that's fine, I don't give a shit. It looks fine. The only time you notice it is when I move my head in that particular spot. And even then, like, not that many people call out that issue, and that's the most glaring issue I've ever had on a VTuber model. I think the few people who have called it out are, like, you and, like, one person when it happened to be doing that, like, little vibrate issue where it flips between the two images really quickly, because it's at the exact angle where the switch happens. God, now you really just have me thinking about this now. I'm gonna be thinking about this for a couple of weeks. This is why I don't go on Twitter, because Twitter people have the most insane opinions about everything. Okay, now I have to actually draw.
I'm only drawing the head turn because, and I only have to draw it one more time because I can just flip it for the other side, right? Hopefully. So okay, this is full height. It should turn. Right? It should be about like this. I just have to move it over. Shut the fuck up, Dai. If you bring this up tomorrow, Daishima, I will kill you. I will find a way. Even if I'm not the fucking betrayer for the game tomorrow, I will find a way to murder your character. I feel so bad, Kira, because like I'm the same way. I don't really look at the character model a lot of the time because a lot of people don't really move their model or like emote with their model often. And I can't really say much about that because I'm bad about it too, but like I'm trying. I at least like I do exaggerate my expressions so that my model picks them up at the very least, and I move my head around a bunch anyways by default, but like a lot of people, they're just like deadpan stare into camera, slight smile. I'm like, your model's very pretty, can I see it do some actual movement? Or is it like frozen in this position? Oh lord, that's a lot, holy fuck. I just breathe wrong because of trauma. Traumatic childhood. I refuse to draw this mask again. I'm going to see if I can steal it. That sounds like fun. Why? Oh, I see. I didn't get too many additional things for my new model, because the rig itself was very expensive. But the ones I did get, I feel like will be very useful. I got, as I mentioned earlier, the middle finger, and then a couple other hand poses. But my favorite, and they did it so well. let me see if I can find the original meme. This is the wrong one. You know that there's like a oh, there it is. Fuck yes. Yes, this one. No, please show me the gif. Show me the gif. That's in reverse. I don't want it in reverse. I want it in... Yes! This is it. I got... It's such a simple thing, but I got angry eyebrows like this. I knew that would be very useful.
And I don't know if she's gonna do any sort of animation for that other than just like maybe having them like zoom in. But I will be doing like a headbang every time I turn that on. Absolutely. 100%. Do you guys want a sneak peek? I can pull it up. Let's be real, I'm not getting that much done. I can distract myself more. Let me get it. I have to open it in Clip Studio because it's got like a bunch of special layers. And it doesn't open properly in Sketchbook because of that. My artist is named Salty V. I will link her real quick. She's both my artist and rig. I don't know if she's on... Excuse me, Blue Sky. I know she's on Twitter. Oh hey, she's on Blue Sky. Sweet! I'm gonna follow her there. Here's her Twitter though, at least. It's loading. It's got a lot of layers to load. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame them. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm very excited about this model. But I think my, like, #1 excitement thing is my hat actually looking like a cool as fuck wizard hat. Which I'm sure you'll understand as soon as I click this on. Oh, I forgot, it's like off-center for you guys. Oh, I did, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? There you go. There we go. This is the model art so far, and it just looks so cool! I'm so excited! There's so many like shadow layers. This is because part of the hat clips down. Like if I... Which one of these fuckers is it? It's not that one, it's this. This is just a mask for this bit here. But, yeah, there's the hat on, that's another layer somewhere else in this whole mess. I have shown you the concept for this. I have not shown you the final one. Here, one second, let me pull that up, because that looks cool as fuck, too. And I did also show you, the Curse of Blue. There was a slight miscommunication between me and the artist in that she thought she was refreshing my design, and I just wanted my design to be made in her style. So I have a version of this where I'm blue, because that was one of the choices. And it's such a good design. Like, I'm actually sad. Because the blue is so pretty, and I love the idea that she had there, and I am kind of sad that I can't get it because it doesn't make sense with Ambrosia's lore and stuff. Double D, double die. So there's this one. Where's the other one? Where did I put it? I'll pull both up. Is it an organized other, or is it an organized images? It's an organized images, there it is. So I know you've seen this blue design dye. I sent you this because I was cackling about the fact that both of us have had a point in our process where we were extremely blue. Oh, hang on, let me... I forget that it's like slightly off. No, that was not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. There you go. You're not wrong. I mean, I like blue as a color, but I don't want it for my design because I like purple and magenta more. But there's so much blue in Genshin too, it bothers me a lot. What do you mean? No, I don't. No, that's not a heart. It's not a heart. It's not. It's just the like zipper. Maybe it is a heart. No, it's not a heart. It's a moon. You can see it. I think I also sent you this, which is the final ref sheet. This was the final bit of like working out all the design details, which, oh my god. Oh my god. She made Ambrosia so hot. Like, what the fuck? This is amazing. I'm in love. The noises I made after... I mean, there was a lot of laughter when I received the blue, but there was a lot of, like, holy fuck noises as well. I did not sound human for a good portion of time. But no, you can see here, it's a little moon. Ambrosia has a few motifs throughout their design, related to the gods that they are specifically related to. The moon comes from Lunafell and Abyss. The star comes from Astra, being one of their like main patrons, and a very subtle motif that they have that is not very noticeable because I have not introduced enough characters that have this motif is the golden eye slits are in relation to their relation to Elan, the goddess of chaos. Okay, actually, I want to talk about the tassels for a second, because, like, when I did the tassels on my design, originally, I was just like, yeah, they're just fucking pinned there, like collar pins, like if you take, have you seen those enamel pins where they have, like, the chain in the middle? It was basically that without the chain in the middle is what was happening there. And then she does this cool shit, and, like, actually, like, thinks about how they attach and stuff, and I'm just like, fuck, that's good! You can keep that detail. I did I did, so Ambrosia used to have a design going down the sides of their coat here, and I did specifically tell her, hey, I do love this little detail here. I don't think it should be included in the final one because I have found that it is a bitch to do any design details on the edge of their tailcoats. But she left it in, and I don't mind. It still looks great, but... The moment any design details about Ambrosia's design that are really difficult to replicate on a consistent basis got removed is the moment I started doing animatics with them. Every time there was a design detail that was too difficult, it got deleted. Like, what else did they have? They were supposed to have a string in the middle, but I found it too annoying to draw. It still is alive in a different outfit that they have. Their other outfit. Let me go find that one. Because I realized I wouldn't have to draw that outfit as much, but I would still have to draw it a lot, and I was like, fuck it, I'll put it on that one, and then I won't have to draw this much. But it'll still be there, because it is a nice detail. Let me see. Is it on this one? Yeah, you can see it here. The little chain. The tassels, and this design are actually the same tassels in that design, with a different charm on top. Yes, very much so. Ambrosia's design, Ambrosia's original design that I did in V-Roid was made because I was learning how to do V-Roid. I think I have that somewhere. But Ambrosia's later design, after I figured out how Vroid worked and was a god at it, for a very, 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 and I cannot emphasize enough, very short amount of time, before all of the people who are, like, actually good at innovating in that sort of program came in and then just fucking obliterated me. That is where Ambrosia 2.0, the design that you see me in now, is. This is my original Vroid, though. And my second Vroid actually, I think, kept the hair, the eyes, and I know the wings, just I kept that the exact same, because it was fine. But you can see, very simplistic design, and then, we come to... I don't have the second Vroid in here, but this was one of the reference sheets that I made, not while I was making that one, but it was very soon after I made this reference sheet, and I had different shoes at the time. I've actually changed those shoes since then. And then my first Vroid, or not Vroid, my first live 2D, or maybe second? I don't remember. Because I had one model, and then I changed some bits of the hair to make them better, and I changed some other bits, but overall it was still the same model. And then this model was the one that infuriates me now. The art for it is okay. The wings are perfect. And the code is fine, but a lot of the other details could have been fixed, I think. Yeah. Ambrosia's been spoiled for my OCs, to be honest. They've got a lot of art. Speaking of, I need to go check Legion real quick. I'm waiting on some art. And I want to know as soon as it's done, so I can be happy and look at it. Still in queue. Sadness. One day. Anyways, but yeah, holy fuck. They look so cool. I'm in love. I can't wait to see them rigged and moving. And this especially with it all, like, actually painted and looking cool and stuff. There's so many layers that are, like, masked layers on this, by the way. Holy shit. And she even went in and was like, hey, this is an optional detail. Like, you don't have to go this hard. Like, I don't even draw the details on their gloves most of the time. It looks so pretty. Okay. Calm down. I need to calm down. I need to calm down before I kill my voice again. I have a whole fucking collab I have to do tomorrow. I'm not allowed to tire myself out today. In fact, I should probably in-stream early today so that I make sure I have enough energy to wake up on time tomorrow, if I'm being entirely honest. I'm super excited for the collab, by the way. I don't know if I've said that. I love board games, and I miss being able to play board games with people. Cause it sounds so sad. I don't have friends in real life that I invite over much. And I want to play board games with people. I have a few games, and I'm just like, can you please come over so I can, like, play cards and stuff with you? Like, I swear to God, if you ever, like, get a game where we can just play whatever card games we want, please let me know. I know there's, like, tabletop simulator or whatever, but I need to play May-I with people. I need to get people into May-I. I need to play poker with people. I just want to have so much fun playing cards with people again, because I love playing cards with people. I don't want to gamble or anything. I just want to play poker with chips. I did see another, like, what's it called? Just, like little party game thing called Liar's Bar or some shit. And that looks like so much fun! Cause it's just, it's just little bets, but it's also like a really gruesome game. Because it's got like Russian roulette elements and stuff, and it's kind of just like, who can I even like find to like play this sort of thing? Like, it's very much not anyone's style that I would personally collab with now. But it's so fun looking. I want to play card games with people. And I do want to crush people at poker, because I am decent at poker. I will say you should not play Clue with me, or any game that is like similar in concept to Clue and is a competitive game. I will crush you with Clue. You will be incredibly, like, obliterated in Clue by me. And I will not apologize for that. I'm very good at logistical puzzles like Clue is at its core, and guessing games. If you want to crush me at a game to the point where I will cry, just find a way to force me to play Settlers of Catan, and I will actually rage quit. I hate Settlers of Catan. But I love games about bluffing. They're so much fun. I also really like playing Bullshit. That's a fun game. Thank you, Daishima, for understanding me. Every time I'm charging my pin right now, by the way. Every time I tell somebody I hate Settlers of Catan, they're like, "Why? It's such a fun game." And I'm like, "You do not understand. I am good at board games. I'm not incredible. I don't win every time, and I'm not overly competitive with them. But I am decent at board games and strategy. And every single fucking time I have gone to the table to play Settlers of Catan, I am the first person who is broke. I am the person that is immediately destroyed by every single person in the game. It does not matter what strategy I choose. It does not matter if I decide to turn the game against itself and just decide to be a menace to every other player on the game board. It does not matter what I do. The game hates me at its very core, and its only possible decision whenever I'm at the game board is to fuck me over. And no matter what I do, no matter what choices I make, no matter what strategy I follow, I could do all the research in the world, I will never, ever, ever win or come close to winning at Settlers of Catan. And it is nothing that I am doing. I couldn't even say it's my luck with the dice rolls. It's just the game hates me. At some molecular, infinitesimal, cosmic level. And that hatred is returned. In full force. Risk is fine, that's fine. Risk is a fun game. Not because I'm good at it, I'm terrible at Risk, but it is fun because I think it's a funny game, like, conceptually. Settlers of Catan could go burn in hell, though. Like, I have a really strong hatred for that particular shade of green I complain about all the time. But it does not even come close to my hatred for Settlers of Catan. Kudos to the guys who developed Settlers of Catan, because they've made a game worse than Monopoly. I do enjoy Monopoly. I'm also not very good at Monopoly. But, like, at least it's an enjoyable game. To a degree, even when you're losing. Because at some point, you're freed from the madness of losing in Monopoly. Because you go bankrupt, and you don't have to be there. Shrek Green is perfectly fine as a green. I like Shrek Green. That's a lovely chartreuse. That's a little bit doled down. It's a good green. The green I hate is not Shrek Green. And I've ranted enough about things I hate today. I'm not gonna do the green rant today. Ask me tomorrow. Make me do it on your stream. There's a version of Monopoly that's endless? Fuck yeah, I'd do that. I'd do a Monopoly collab. That's not even sarcasm. I would do a Monopoly collab. I know it's a kind of game where, like, you probably won't finish the game in one session. Or it's gonna be an incredibly fucking long session to collab with, but I'd do it. Because again, at least you have an out. Yeah, that's really close to that green. Like, it's just far away, enough away from the green I hate that it's an acceptable green to look at and perceive for me, and I won't get pissed off at seeing it. But it's also close enough that it makes me think about the green that I hate. The Duolingo Owl is unfortunately also in that category of just close enough for me to go, oh, it's that green again. But it's also just far enough away to not be the green, so it's fine to look at. And if you think that's absurd for me to think about on a regular basis, you'd be correct, and I hate myself every time that I get mad about seeing the green. Insane Monopoly. What's the difference between Insane Monopoly and normal Monopoly? Alright, let me take a look. Oh, I've seen this! Okay, unironically, this does look like fun. I've seen this. I saw this. I've seen the video, like, of the person who made this fucking monstrosity of a creation, and I have to say, I unfortunately immediately thought, oh, that looks really fun. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing with Monopoly. Like, you have to have the right mixture of people to play it, otherwise it is a fucking travesty. But I think that's true of any board game. Like, you have to have people who are fun to play games with, and are not... You can't have sore winners and you can't have sore losers. But between the two of them, sore winners are the worst of the two of them. Well, there really is no experience than playing a game with a sore loser. Yeah, there's definitely games where, like, especially if there's a cooperation element, it's a lot easier to get along with people who might be a little bit more like you wouldn't want to play another game with them. And that's totally fine. Like, you don't have to be like the kind of person to play board games with. Even still, like, I feel like I personally can be a bit too competitive with certain games, and I have to tone myself down, and that's all needed to. I feel like I should not be, like, if I know I'm being an insufferable player, I should tone myself down. Also, that is incredible. Do you have any soccer mom stories from this that you are willing to share? I'm intrigued. Because most of my, like, card game / board game stories are with my family members. My sister and her husband are fantastic to play games with. Mainly because her husband, like, will not fully really try to play the game at first. Like, if he doesn't know the game, he's just kind of like fucking around, and then he will crush everyone at the table, and you can't even be mad about it. It's not even like an endearing thing or anything. It's just literally like the funniest things will happen during that game, and it is incredible every time. And then when we're all playing normally, like, it's just a good time to play with. But my grandfather, oh, you do not want to play any game with him ever. Like, he's the kind of person who will have the most chips at the poker table and then be like, ugh, I can't believe I got this hand. And it'll be like 2 pair or something like that. And it's just like, you have a hand, sir. You have 2 kings and 2 queens in your hand. That's a decent poker hand. That is incredible. I'm enthralled by this job position. Honestly though, like, being a host for games like that, like, it sounds both like a fun and also terrible job. Mainly because I feel like I would just be terrible at customer service, because if somebody really pisses me off, I'm not afraid to tell them to their face, even in a professional environment, and I don't think that's a good position to be in when you're in customer service. Like, it's one thing when I'm in programming and I have to tell somebody, hey, can you shut the fuck up? So I can finish speaking. And it's another thing to tell someone who's your customer to shut the fuck up for talking out of line. Which in either case, I would not swear, actually, but you get the deal. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, I can deal with some kinds of stupid. Like, if it's somebody struggling to learn something, genuinely one of my favorite things to do as a part of my job is train new people. I really enjoy it. I love explaining things. I love the process of, like, seeing, like, that moment when things start making sense for people. And I love teaching. But there are some people in this world that are fucking insufferable to teach. Because they think they know more than you, or, like, they're just not willing to listen, or, honestly, the knowing more than you isn't even the worst thing. It's when, like, you say something and you explain something perfectly, and everyone else in the room gets it, and you know that they get it because they go and do the thing correctly. And then there's one person who just goes back up to you and says, I don't get it, and you go, okay, let me explain it again, that's fine. And then they listen to you, and then they start arguing with you about it. And you'd think that this wouldn't be a thing that happens. When you're just like, hey, I'm just trying to teach you how this works, like, I know how this works, I've worked on it. Can you just listen? And they go, no, this is wrong. I don't think this is right. And I'm like, Yeah, no, that's tech support. I'm talking about, like, teaching people how to do their job. I've trained people to do their job, is what I'm talking about. Unless you're referring to your jobs, in which case, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I would not be a good teacher for any sort of small child and or anyone in high school. But like an art class where people sign up for it, I would have so much fun, like an art or a tech class like that. Because another thing, like, I really enjoy writing documentation for work as well. At least when I understand what I'm writing documentation about. Sometimes I've been asked to write documentation about things, I'm just like, no one has actually explained to me how that application works, actually. Now I have to go do a bunch of research, which is not a terrible thing to do or ask me to do, but it's also just like, hey, could you find somebody who already knows how to do this? But like, one of my favorite things is the act of like decoding what I'm teaching. So instead of using all the like super like tech terms and like all the all the shop talk and stuff like that, like all the words, like if I start saying them out loud to you guys, you'd be like, hey, what language are you speaking? And I'd have to say English because it's still technically English. And then just turning that into like language that everyone on the planet Earth that speaks English at least semi-fluently would understand. Like, I really enjoy doing that because I hate technological terms that make no sense and aren't explained properly. Like dependency injection? Fuck that shit. Explain to me what a dependency injection does. Do not just throw the term dependency injection at me. Type of deal. I can't remember the word. There's a word for it. Also, I think everyone in IT who has to, like, explain people why their computer broke does just know, like, 5 bazillion macros and 5 different ways to turn it on and turn it off again. Or, sorry, turn it off and turn it on again. My sister used to work in tech support for a short stint, and she told me, yeah, 90% of my job is just Googling whatever the fuck their problem is and explaining it to them in baby terms. I'm like, damn. I could not do that. You are actually very close. You're not entirely wrong. So, if we're talking about, like, the physical, like, library package, a library is a file that includes a bunch of code that you can reference. The way that you include that is typically through a NuGet package extension, or not extension. NuGet packages are just a way to import things into Visual Studio, or a couple of other ways, but that's not dependency injection. That is just adding the library to your program. But let's say that you have an object in those libraries that you want to include in various places across the program, because, like, let's say you're writing a program for a zoo, and you want to be able to reference the entire zoo as an object in a lot of different places. Like when you have your zookeeper class, you want to talk to the zoo class instance, and you want to do the same for if you have animals and stuff like that. Dependency injection is a way of forming the architecture of a program in a way that makes it a lot easier and simpler to have the exact same instance of the zoo be referenced across all those different locations in the program without making a bunch of really complicated, nasty architectural decisions with, like, using constants and stuff. it's a difficult thing to explain without visuals, and without somebody who knows what programming code looks like. I will be perfectly honest. It's also a bitch to debug if anything goes wrong with it, in my opinion. But as a concept and the way it's used is something that is super, super cool. I unfortunately had to learn how to do it on the job because I was not taught how to do it in college. And I should have been taught how to do it in college. Yeah, Kara. Like, that's the kind of stuff about teaching that's just genuinely fun. Is like, I want to help people succeed, and I love seeing people succeed, and I especially love being one of the people that helps them succeed. I don't want to be the solo person that helps them succeed, because that's an awkward position to be in whenever they have a question I cannot answer. But being one of the people that, like, support somebody into success, it's a good feeling. I think this is good enough. I think I just need to draw his ear, and I'll be done with this. And then I think I'm gonna stop for the night so I do not tire myself out. You would be. From the knowledge that you have shared across the amount of time that I have known you, you know just enough about IT and just enough about business and the way that both of those types of people tend to function that you would be a very good in-between for them. You would also probably fucking hate the job. Not gonna lie. You would be very good at it, but you would hate it. I don't know which people you'd hate more, though. I don't know if you would hate the IT people or if you would hate the business people more. I can't decide on that. I feel like it would be a mixture, like it would depend on which person you're talking to, because like there's plenty of people on both sides that are actually really nice to talk to and get things done with. But I know full well that both sides can be annoying. That is my assumption, that you would get along with the IT people, and you would be mildly frustrated constantly by the business people, asking for things that the IT people have explained very clearly that they cannot do. But I feel like there would be a point in time where you'd get really pissed off at the IT people. And I say that specifically because of our arguments about stuff like the one that we were like when we were talking earlier about Live 2D. Oh jeez, I did not realize that was on the same layer. Oops. Okay, delete that here. This ear should be like right about here. And I need to move the hair forward because the ear is supposed to poke out of the hair. And I think it would just be like this. I have not had to directly deal with HR yet at my current job, and I think that's a good thing. I'm kind of afraid of HR. I've not at my job, at like family's jobs, at completely different locations, like companies and whatnot. They've always complained about HR, which has now driven me to be afraid of HR. I was just like, I'm sure everything will be perfectly fine when the day finally comes that I have to talk to HR. That does not put me at ease.
going to call this, I'm gonna fix the nose, but I'm gonna call this good enough. Because this does not need to be an extensive head to turn, and I am not an animator, and will never claim to be an animator. And every time somebody calls me an animator, I'm a little nervous about it, because I feel like somebody's gonna call me a faker right after. In a perfect shadow impression. It would be nice if I do one day become an animator, though. I look forward to it. I am working towards that goal. But I acknowledge that I am lazy. I hate that. That makes incredible sense to me. I'm just glad that at my job, I'm both not being forced to use AI, and I think it's actually still banned at this point in time, but any use of AI, they are being extremely, like, cognizant of the security risks and such of using it, which is not my entire problem with generative AI, but it is one of my main problems, especially in a corporate environment like a business using it for any sort of data aggregation of any kind, anything where they are putting data into an AI system. So there's that at least. No. My guy, my dude, the, like, AI bullshit picks out cherry-picking certain words bullshit algorithm AI that they use already for resume nonsense does not work the way it should already. No. Don't use generative AI on resumes. It's not going to work. It's not. It's not gonna do what you need it to do. It's gonna give you more bullshit. That's all it's going to do. That's all it's going to do. Okay, everyone pray real quick for me that I'm not gonna have to redraw this whole thing. It's good enough! Fuck yeah! There's 3 frames to this head shake, but like 2 of them are just flipped. I'm pretty sure in the original music video as well, and like that's not me hating on it or anything. That's me going, thank fucking God that I don't have to draw this 3 times. I only have to draw it twice. But it's always scary when, like, you haven't been flipping the drawing while drawing it, and you're like, oh shit, I have to flip this, and it has to look good. But, oh, that's a good feeling. I was really afraid that it wouldn't look good when I flipped it. That's a good note to end on for today, so it's a good positive note to end on. I'm gonna end there. I will see you guys tomorrow, especially you, Daishimu. I have to make sure I wake up on time. Let me let me see. No, we're not gonna raid today. I'm not streaming tomorrow, so heads up. I'm just gonna be on your stream. Nice! I hope your pasta's delicious. I'm gonna grab a snack, actually. Alrighty. Good